Hello, welcome back into Integrative Approaches and Healthier Living. I'm Tami Tomlinson here with Coach Chris Bush. Today we're going to continue the conversation on communication and specifically how we're communicating with ourselves. So welcome in, Chris. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Tami. How are you?
I'm doing good, and hopefully our communication with ourselves has been super of late since we've been, looking into this. So what would you like to share, or how would you like to start diving right into this thought process?
Honestly, I think the best place to start for the people that haven't or didn't watch our last video would be, first I would suggest that anybody that didn't watch our last video, they go back and they check that out on communication. In that video, we got into this topic, which we're going to dive into a little bit more, which is more on interpersonal communication, both verbal and nonverbal. And we also talked about communication and better communication habits in regards to others and how journaling and different practices can help with that. So today we're going to kind of lean in a little bit more to, say, interpersonal communication. Another thought on this is, kind of like maybe things that we're doing that are affirming or not affirming certain beliefs or things that we are trying to, change about ourselves. So that being said, I'll come back over to you, Tami. But actually, last time we talked a bit about like using words like chaos and busy, vague words that don't really define what is going on and what really was taking place in and around an event.
Right, non-descriptive.
Exactly, yes, non-descriptive terminology. And out of that conversation, you were like, well, I realized that I can manage my time better and keep a better schedule and see, where is it that my time is going, just based on your takeaways from our conversation last time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely, 100%. And also I think just having in my brain to be intentional with what I'm doing. I noticed I have caught myself a couple of times doing something like I start down a path on getting something accomplished, and then it's like squirrel. And your brain, your
Absolutely.
you go down a different path, and our phones are just horrific for that because we get so many pop-ups and push alerts and social media
Absolutely.
that starts to come in and flood. And then the next thing you know, everything's like an hour has gone by and you're like, holy cows, I didn't get anything done. And
Yes,
as we have
absolutely.
touched on, the social media and even me being all wrapped up in football right now. Yes, I do like football. Um, I can spend too much time reading about all the things related to those topics, and
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
just not a good use of my time. So I just reel myself back in and recommunicate, reaffirm that yes, I can have time for that later. But right now I'm making a commitment to myself to get this particular topic, project, item crossed off of my list.
It's important to make time for those things that we enjoy also. And I've had too many clients that I've work with, and they will come in, they didn't do the things that they wanted to do for the week. And what they do, or what they start to do, is they start to beat themselves up over, these things, and being like, oh, like I was on Instagram, I was, watching this TV show, I was, out having fun with my
Right.
friends.
So then, yeah. And if I may interrupt you real quick,
Hmm.
it's like then the communication that we're saying to ourselves, especially if we had a task at hand to do and that distracted us from it, we don't
Yeah,
want to start saying that we're a slacker or we're a time waster or,
absolutely.
any of those other negative words that we would
Hmm.
label ourselves with. that's not healthy for us mentally and physically. We're just creating, to use an Ayurvedic term, ama in the body, which
Right,
is a toxicity, and
right.
it's not healthy for us. So we need to look
Absolutely.
for positive words or reframe it.
My experience, and especially with coaching, I've seen where when people have these things on their schedule, when they can just focus on those things that they're trying to enjoy, they enjoy them more because they're not thinking about the things, they don't have like that guilty conscience towards like the other things that they feel like they could be doing or should be doing. And so they can just sit back and be like, no, I did those things, or I have been working on those things. Right now, I'm scheduled to have time here.
And if we're journaling and logging or creating a schedule for ourselves, like we've talked about doing, maybe we schedule 15 or 20 minutes in the morning or in the afternoon where we know we have some free time, or we make the free time to satisfy, that quote itch, if you will. I don't know
Right.
if I like that phrase, but it it works. So
It
yeah, there
works.
you go.
So why don't you dive into, because I know you brought a couple of books with you today. I said what I need to say, feel like right now, at least what's on my conscience to say at the moment about this particular topic. But I wanted to give you that opportunity because I know that you brought a couple of your books that you have found very important and intriguing for the
Yes.
past that you wanted to kind of talk about.
Yes, thank you. One of them that we mentioned, and the books, the titles, and everything are in the description. I'll put it in the description for this one as well. But the communication topic, nonviolent communication. This is a beautiful book. Excuse me, but it helps us with our vocabulary, right? If we don't already feel like we have the words that we can use to help describe the feeling that we are experiencing. This book gives us lists of words that we can use, and it also helps for non-victimizing words. So like if we're having a communication with a coworker, a partner, a loved one, friend, family, whatever the case may be, we don't want to say all of, oh, you did this to me and you did that to me. It's really, we need to look to ourselves and we need to think about what happened. We have to like state the facts. And then we also have to go into, what are we feeling? How am I feeling about X? And then we have to know how to describe those feelings. And then you have to know how you can express what you need that you're not receiving in that relationship, right? Like, I need more attention and more help with the laundry, or I need more help with getting this PowerPoint presentation done for this meeting that's in 3 days. So that kind of a thing.
Sorry to cut you off, and because I mean, I just reading into what you're saying, and is there a part of the book that kind of goes into what we're talking about today,
Yes,
which is more, like how we talk to ourselves
yes,
and
yes, yes,
what does that look like?
yes.
Truth be told, too, Tammy, to back you up on this, we always treat ourselves like two different people.
Yes, yes,
We are we are both the person that we hope to be, and we are the person that we are.
right.
And oftentimes those two people come into conflict. And so it sounds to me like regardless of that, like, even in regards to, other people, taking that like we were talking about before and parenting ourselves, and we're utilizing those same tools to kind of come back and be like, okay, like, like what if this was another person that I was talking to, just like we've talked about
Mm-hmm,
before.
mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And to not, I think really one of the key points I think we want to really drive home is to just not beat ourselves up, right? And live with grace, give ourselves
Yeah,
grace,
absolutely.
keeping in line with ourselves real quick. Free to Love, Free to Heal. This is a Dr. David Simon book, also about how we're communicating with ourselves and always just trying to lift ourselves up and lift up others and stay in a place of peace and harmony, and it'll be better for our body, mind, and spirits.
I had a couple of things I wanted to, couple of points that I feel like are really good, I guess, questions to ask ourselves. And the first one I think is really, really important is the same person responsible for your success in life also responsible for your failure? I bring this one up because I find a lot of the times people that have a perfectionist mindset sometimes we'll separate those two. And I've also run into this like within religious institutions as well. Um, also politics, but much more rarely. For example, like I had a friend of mine I was talking to a while back, and every time she messed up, she would always be like, she would just beat herself up. Just plain
Mhm.
and simple, she would beat herself up. But anytime she did something good and she was successful and you would call her out for it, she'd be like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. You know, God is great. And I'm like, okay, so you are taking accountability for all your failure, but anything that you do that is a success in your life is God's. You know, it's not yours. That mindset is extremely damaging for people long term. In truth, we'll just say from a religious aspect, you know, most religions are like, oh, God is omnipotent, God is in control, you know, so either God is responsible, you know, for both your failure and your success, or he's not. Since we don't know that for sure, and we are all in the real world, you know, like we have to come back to a place where like, okay, is my success, is my failure both owned by me? You know, and again, I see perfectionists deal with this too, like where they will beat themselves up for like things that they do wrong. And then they'll always attribute like, oh, like I had a great team, you know, like, oh, the people around me were amazing. Being humble is great, but it needs to come from a place of honesty, not, you know, from a, you know, lack of, say, like self-confidence or self-efficacy. The second one is, you know, and I think is really important, are the beliefs in our life, are they backed by, say, like credible research-based sources? And so, you know, this is a process. So oftentimes, you know, the things that we talk about, that we believe, that we're following, sometimes might be completely based on other people's opinions. Or is everything because, you know, like the politician in your political party agrees a certain way? Is it because your pastor or say your professor like is, you know, believes a certain thing? Because
Or is
not
it
all.
because it's something that we may have seen on social media?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, I deal with that all the time where people will come to me with these crazy beliefs about things. Those types of beliefs don't, again, support your self-efficacy long term. I think the final thing that, you know, that I want to touch on was, and I think this is a big one, is do your goals have actionable steps, and are you actually taking action on those goals? Lots of people will come to me and say, oh, I want to work out, I want to diet, you know, but whenever it comes down to it, there's nothing going on there, you know. And I see people do this in so many areas of their life. They have a plan for things, but like there's never ending, like there's this never ending like cycle of, oh, I need to know more, oh, I need to research more, I need to figure out the perfect workout before they actually start.
Right. And I was just going to say that kind of leads us back to perfectionism, right? We're
Right,
looking for that
absolutely.
perfect end result, end goal, whatever
Hmm.
it may be. And there is no
Right,
perfect anything, right?
right.
At least if there is, I don't know about it.
The way past some of these things, for example, in this case would be, you know, if we were to get past number three, like I always challenge people, what is the like the smallest step that you can take towards achieving, you know, your goals, something actionable, something that will get you started today, you know, get
And
you
make you
moving.
feel successful.
Exactly, exactly. You know, because even small amounts of success, you build on it. Like, and it's one thing we see in the health coaching community is like, just even the smallest amounts of success, like, is something that people can build on, and they don't stay there. People think that they're going to stay there, and but we know smaller amounts of success more regularly, you know, is far more. People are far more successful in the long run whenever they go that route. And so even if it's small, even if it seems like it's, nothing, but you're actually taking action on it and keeping up with it, that's huge.
That's something.
Absolutely. And it's success that you can build on. It's confidence that you can build on. If you can achieve this, then you can achieve like that next little thing. The second, to back up with is, our actions, combinations, or beliefs, like, are they coming from credible evidence-based sources? To come back to your point, like working with a professional is like huge in that. But one of the best ways is having goals that are measurable. I think this is the biggest teardown for this one is, okay, you read this online, somebody told you this. Okay, what are you doing to measure the outcome? And is it something that you can measure and tie to results? And if you can do that, not only, again, do we come back to that area of success, but again, we're challenging our belief systems and we're seeing if they work or not. And we're learning, and that learning, again, comes back to growing self-efficacy. The first one is, that one just takes work, like, is our success in life, are we accountable for that? Are we accountable for our failure? So if it's a belief system that is supporting that, really kind of coming back to that belief system and challenging that. There's nothing in this world where those two things can be owned by two different people. That it just makes no sense. But if we're outside of that belief system, we're talking about perfectionism, like we've talked about before, the 80% rule or the 70% rule, whatever you want to do. Making sure that you pat yourself on the back, for your successes and give yourself at least some credit. If you're going to take responsibility for your failure, you have to take at least some credit for your success because both of them came out of your actions.
Right. And I think too, if we share with others, there's research on this, right? If we share our goals with other people and then we have those small successes or big successes, then we can go back to those people and say, hey, I got this done and I got that done.
Yep, absolutely.
So I was going to tap onto your SMART goals, and I feel like that's a conversation for another day
I think
to
we
really
could go
kind of
full
dive
episode
into
on
what
SMART
that
goals.
looks like.
I think we could go full episode on SMART goals. SMART goals are so important. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I think honestly,
Yep.
like that's one of the best things for self-efficacy is SMART goals and
Mm-hmm.
just increasing like in your own personal knowledge. I think goals are so important, and then having measurable goals behind that, like they are just, invaluable in my opinion.
Right. And then that also ties us back to journaling.
Yep,
It's a form
absolutely.
of journaling,
It is
essentially.
a
We're
form.
writing down these
Absolutely.
goals or
Yep.
creating goal posters, intentions, all of that kind of stuff. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Cool.
All good stuff. And, I will link all of the videos that correlate to this conversation, communication, perfectionism, and whatever other beautiful nuggets I have out there. We will connect those for you. And
you know what, Tami? And make sure if you guys haven't checked it out yet, go back and check out our communications video because that one was really, really good.
yes, for sure, for sure.
That'll help fill in the gaps on this one a little bit.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chris. Great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as always, Tami.